Alright, I've got a couple hours on a nice afternoon. I've got these two, these are the bells from, it was a big plastic alarm clock, kind of a cheap alarm clock. These are pretty much the only usable parts. There are a couple other things inside. Where did they go? These little guys. Which might also be useful. But I squished one, cut out where the body and the head are going to come out, put a line there. I'm just going to see what happens and not worry about it too much. Off to a little bit of a slow start here, but a good start, I think. I'm trying not to look too much at the clock, because I'm realizing as I make these videos, I start to make myself want to move faster, and that doesn't work out too well for me. Anyway, just to show you. So, this is going to be hot. I can't pick it up. The bottom part there, which is going to be underneath the belly of the ladybug, is part of a garden trowel that I cut off. I used a hammer head there. I'm going to use the business end of the hammer that I cut off. I think it's going to be the very end of the head of the ladybug, which is why I cut it off. I got a couple of little pieces of I think it's a Volkswagen engine. There's a whole bunch more parts, springs and valves and all that sort of thing. So those are some kind of valve parts that were removed, so those are going to be some innards, and also where some legs are going to attach on the bottom, and then I welded a piece of part of a big padlock on there. And then I cut up an old doorknob, which I think is going to be the, was it the thorax? Is that the middle section of the bug? Anyway, that's my plan for that. And then I've got my two shells cut in half. So far so good. Another quick operational pause here. I think I got the innards mostly done. I just imagined if there was a ladybug, it would have probably, if it was mechanical, it would have to have quite a bit of stuff underneath there to power the wings and so on and so forth, and lift the pieces of the shell off. I'm not sure what the shell is technically called in a ladybug. So anyway, this is fairly heavy. I used a couple more of those little valve whatchamadoodles there. Got some springs. Somewhere for the ladybug's exhaust to come out. My first go at the wings is going to be cut out a pair, kind of in the shape and the size that I need. Like that. Out of this sheet metal that I glued some paper to and rusted a long time ago, which has kind of been sitting there. So kind of has an interesting texture and look to it. I'm not sure how much of that will survive the welding. I'm going to try to put some veins or something on with this, or figure out how to define some kind of texture in it, so it might well end up being burned to a crisp. I don't know. That's what I'm going to try. Well, I did not finish my ladybug on the first day, so it is going to go into day 2. I just flat ran out of time, and making it with the wings open makes it a lot more complicated than just putting the shell down. So this is where I am right now. I wanted to try to get it to look like it was kind of taking off. So an unbalanced look, if I could get it to tilt back a little bit more, I think I would like that. I might have to move some of the legs. I kind of like the way that ended up looking so far. I smoothed out a few of those joints maybe, and the head is bad. You know, I ended up using the hammer for the inside here after I cut this part off specifically for the head, and it's just wrong. It needs to have, it's protruding way too much, so it needs to have some way to bring it back to the shell. So I might put something down there, then fill it in, and cutting most of that off. Then I'll have to put some eyes and some antenna there. I like the way the wings look so far. That kind of burned paper look, I think is pretty cool. So that turned out nice. So this is the original pieces of Lynn's alarm clock bell or clanger there. So these are going to be what I now know is called the, oops, I got one backwards. The elytron of the ladybug. I'm not sure whether that's plural or singular. But they look way too new, too shiny. So we got head, some feet, some cleanup, and some shell. And I'm hoping I can get that done today. Was the best of ladybugs, it was the worst of ladybugs. But it's the most done of ladybugs. It's the only ladybug that I've ever made. So as usual, I learn a lot about the anatomy of an animal the first time I try to make one. Let's see what we got. So the shell turned out great. This is the whole reason I started making one anyways, because those parts so simply suggested, you know, a ladybug shell. It was really easy to make the spots on there. I just cleared myself a little place to get some contact and then just hit it with the welder. It burned up the paint nicely. It still has a gloss on there, so that's fine. I ended up cutting off the entire head that I had started with and started over. The head is still too big. I feel like it should protrude about half that far for a ladybug. The shape is not bad, but not super happy with that. I think the legs turned out alright. I really like the way the wings turned out. I probably put them at a little bit too forward of an angle. I probably should have gone back a little bit. But overall, I like it. I think it's interesting to look at, and I'll have to spend a few days looking at it before I decide whether I want to try it again with the other one.